the Arctic in the north, vast and filled with unexpected life.
As the Prime Minister was touting Canada's diversity at COP15, this happened. A group of about 10 First Nations land defenders interrupted the COP15 opening ceremonies. Trudeau stood silently for almost 3 minutes as the demonstrators, mostly young women, eventually filed out of the room.
As you can also see, Canada is a place of free expression, where individuals and communities are free to express themselves openly and strongly. And we thank them for sharing their perspectives.
Longtime Kanien'kehá:ka activist Alan Gabriel says the protest expressed what was on a lot of Indigenous people's minds.
They brought attention to what is actually going on in Canada, that Canada is not the perfect country that it tries to portray to the rest of the world, that Indigenous people are the last people who get their rights respected, if at all.
Back up on the podium, the UN Secretary General spoke against putting business before the environment, saying that we are at war with the planet and that governments must make it right.
Plans that recognize and protect the rights of Indigenous peoples and local communities who have always been the most effective guardians of biodiversity.
It wasn't all just talk at the opening. Trudeau committed $350 million towards international biodiversity on top of the 2021 commitment of $5.3 billion over 5 years.
By 2030, we must halt and reverse biodiversity loss.
But many here feel Trudeau lost credibility following his government's purchase of the multi-billion-dollar Trans Mountain pipeline.
Indigenous people still have to face the criteria of government before anything is accepted, and they always have the last say.
Quebec Premier François Legault also committed $650 million over 7 years.
We will support the creation of new protected areas initiated by Indigenous peoples, and we will also make use of the expertise of Indigenous peoples in order to preserve biodiversity.
But the Legault government has recently been pushing for environmentally disruptive projects like lithium mining and hydro dams. Gabriel says big government can't have it both ways.
And I think that's the weakness of Canada, is there's a lot of rhetoric, there's a lot of stuff on paper, but in actuality, none of those things are really being implemented.
COP15 will run until December 19th in Montreal. A story by Emilia Fournier, APTN National News, Montreal.